The summer heat in rural Ohio was unbearable. The kind that made your clothes stick to your skin like a second layer you couldn't peel off. I was rummaging through the old storeroom at my grandparents' farm, trying to find some forgotten fan or anything to beat the swelter. When I decided to strip down to cool off for just a minute, big mistake. The door creaked open, and there stood my cousin Mathew, eyes wide as saucers, frozen in the doorway like he'd walked into a nightmare. I bolted upright, grabbing a dusty tarp to cover myself, my heart pounding like a drum in a marching band. "Mathew, what the hell? Knock next time," I yelled, my voice cracking with embarrassment. He just stood there, his face turning from shock to something I couldn't quite read, confusion. Maybe disgust? Mathew was the straight arrow type, the all-American guy who just graduated from Ohio State with a football scholarship, engaged to his high school sweetheart Sarah, and always the one preaching about family values at our reunions. We were cousins, close in age at 22 and 24, but worlds apart in everything else. I'd known I was gay since high school, but in our conservative Midwest family, that was a secret buried deeper than the farm's well. Coming out wasn't an option. It would shatter everything. Mathew finally snapped out of it, averting his eyes and mumbling, "Sorry, man. I was looking for Grandpa's tools. Didn't know you were, in here." He backed out quickly, slamming the door behind him. I dressed in a flash, my mind racing. Had he seen too much? Would he tell anyone? The rest of the day at the family barbecue was torture. I avoided him like the plague, sticking to small talk with aunts and uncles about crops and weather. But every time our eyes met across the picnic table, there was this unspoken tension, like a storm cloud hanging low. That night, as the fireflies danced in the yard, Mathew cornered me by the barn. "We need to talk," he said, his voice low and serious. I braced myself for the worst: judgment, rejection, maybe even a punch. But instead he asked, "Why were you like that?" In the storeroom, it wasn't accusatory. It was curious, almost vulnerable. I hesitated, then spilled it all. The hiding, the fear, the loneliness in a family that idolized traditional marriages and church Sundays. To my shock, Mathew didn't recoil. He listened, nodding slowly. "I've never thought about it like that," he admitted. "Sarah and we're perfect on paper, but sometimes I wonder if it's all just what everyone expects." Over the next few days, as the family gathering dragged on, we started talking more. Late-night walks down the gravel roads, sharing beers on the porch when everyone else was asleep. Mathew opened up about the pressure from his parents to settle down, get married, have kids, the whole American dream script. I shared stories from college, anonymous crushes, and the ache of pretending. Felt like cracking open a door I'd nailed shut. But underneath it all, a spark ignited. His laughs lingered a bit too long. His glances held a warmth that wasn't just familial. I told myself it was nothing, that he was straight as an arrow. Yet, one evening, as we fixed a fence together, our hands brushed, and neither of us pulled away. The conflict hit when Aunt Linda, Mathew's mom, overheard us whispering about secrets and grilled us at dinner. "What's going on with you two? You're acting strange." We brushed it off, but the seed of suspicion was planted. In our town, rumors spread like wildfire, and being gay was still whispered about like a curse. Mathew's engagement to Sarah loomed larger now, a reminder of the life he was supposed to live. I felt guilty, like I was pulling him into my chaos. But as the week ended and we said goodbye, he slipped me a note. "This isn't over. Call me." My heart soared and sank at once. What had I started? Back in Columbus, where I worked as a graphic designer, life resumed its lonely rhythm. But Mathew's calls became daily. At first, innocent check-ins about family, then deeper dives into doubts. "Sarah wants to set a date," he confessed one night. "But I keep thinking about what you said. Living for yourself." I encouraged him to follow his heart, but mine was tangled. Was I falling for my own cousin? Society screamed no, taboo, wrong, especially in our Bible Belt roots. Yet the connection felt real, electric. One weekend, he drove up unannounced. "I needed to see you," he said, standing in my apartment doorway. We talked for hours, the air thick with unspoken words. When he leaned in, our foreheads touching, it wasn't a kiss, just a moment of raw honesty. "I think I'm confused," he whispered. "About everything." I pulled back, terrified. "Matthew, you're straight. This could ruin us." But he shook his head. "Am I? Or is that just what I've been told?" The drama escalated when Sarah found his texts to me. Nothing incriminating, but enough to spark jealousy. She confronted him, accusing him of emotional cheating. "Who's this cousin you're always talking to?" she demanded. Matthew downplayed it, but the fight cracked their perfect facade. He called me in tears. I don't know who I am anymore. I wanted to comfort him, but guilt gnawed at me. Was I selfish for letting this happen? As weeks turned into months, our conversations evolved into something undeniable. Matthew broke off his engagement with Sarah, citing personal growth. A vague excuse that left our family buzzing with gossip. Uncle Tom, his dad, was furious. "What the hell is wrong with you? Sarah's a good girl," he bellowed over the phone, the anger echoing through our extended clan. I stayed silent, but inside, I was a storm of emotions. Part of me thrilled at the possibility, another dreaded the fallout. Matthew moved to Columbus for a job in marketing, claiming it was for career opportunities. But we both knew the truth. We started hanging out openly, coffee shops, hikes in Hocking Hills, movie nights. Friends assumed we were just close cousins reconnecting. But in private, the tension built. One night, after a heated debate about family expectations, he admitted, "I think I have feelings for you. Real ones." My world tilted. "Matthew, this isn't a phase. If we do this, it's crossing lines society won't forgive." He nodded, eyes fierce. "I know, but hiding who I am hurts more." Our first real date was at a quiet Italian place downtown. No labels, just two guys sharing pasta and stories. But walking home, hand brushing hand, a group of guys catcalled, "Look at the fags." We froze, the slur hitting like a punch. Matthew's face hardened. He'd never faced that before. "Ignore them," I said, but it shook him. Back at my place, we talked about the risks, discrimination at work, family rejection. "Is it worth it?" he asked. I didn't have an answer. The conflicts multiplied. At a family wedding in Cleveland, whispers followed us. Cousin Emily pulled me aside. "What's up with you and Matthew? People are talking." I denied it, but the pressure mounted. Matthew's parents invited him home for a talk, ambushing him with a pastor from their church. "Son, we think you're going through something unnatural," his mom said tearfully. "Let us help you pray it away." He stormed out, driving straight to me. "They think I'm broken," he sobbed. Holding him, I felt the weight of our choices. Love shouldn't feel like war. Society's judgments seeped in. At work, Matthew faced subtle jabs from colleagues after a photo of us at a Pride event leaked online, nothing overt, but enough to make him question promotions. I dealt with my own demons, internalized homophobia from years of hiding, wondering if pursuing this made me the villain in our family's story. One argument exploded when I suggested we slow down. "Are you ashamed of me?" he yelled. "No," I shot back. "I'm scared for us." Yet, amid the chaos, moments of joy shone through. A road trip to Lake Erie, where we watched the sunset, sharing dreams of a life without judgment. "I want this," he said, his voice steady. "You." But reality crashed back when his ex, Sarah, called, begging for closure. "I still love you," she said. Matthew hung up, conflicted. What if I'm bi? What if this hurts everyone? The doubt fueled more fights, testing our bond. A turning point came at Thanksgiving. The family gathered at the farm, tension thick as gravy. Aunt Linda cornered Matthew. "Rumors say you're involved with someone inappropriate." He deflected, but later, alone in the storeroom, the same one where it all began, we confronted it. "We can't hide forever," I said. He agreed, but fear lingered. As snow fell outside, we held each other, whispering promises. But the world outside waited, ready to judge. The revelation hit like a Midwest tornado. Matthew decided to come out to his parents first, over a tense dinner in their Akron home. "Mom, Dad, I'm bisexual," he said, his voice trembling. "And I'm seeing someone, my cousin." Silence exploded into chaos. His dad slammed the table. "That's incestuous. Disgusting." His mom wept, quoting Bible verses about sin. "How could you do this to us?" They demanded he end it, threatening to cut him off. Mathew left, heartbroken but resolute. Word spread through the family grapevine faster than a viral tweet. My phone blew up with messages, shock, anger. "Please." Uncle Tom called me. "You've corrupted my son. Stay away." I felt like a pariah, the black sheep who dragged another into the fold. Even liberal relatives hesitated, murmuring about boundaries and genetics. Society's taboos on cousin relationships, even legal in Ohio, fueled the fire. Online forums debated, is cousin love okay if it's same-sex? The controversy swirled, making us question everything. We sought solace in Columbus's LGBTQ community, attending support groups. Hearing stories of rejection and resilience helped, but our unique twist family ties drew mixed reactions. Some cheered our authenticity. Others warned of legal and social pitfalls. "Love is love," one facilitator said. "But society isn't always kind." Mathew struggled most, his straight-passing privilege shattered. "I miss the ease," he confessed. "But I wouldn't trade you." Conflicts peaked at a family intervention disguised as a Christmas party. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, all there, Bibles in hand. "This is against God's plan," Grandpa declared. "Choose family or this sin." Mathew stood firm. "I choose love." I added, "We're not hurting anyone." But the room erupted in arguments, tradition versus progress, faith versus freedom. Cousin Emily defended us. Times change. But others, like Aunt Linda, cut ties. "You're dead to me." The emotional toll was immense. Mathew battled depression, questioning his identity. "What if they're right?" he'd ask in dark moments. I reassured him, but my own doubts crept in. Was our love worth fracturing the family? Therapy helped unpack it. Societal conditioning, internalized bias. We learned to set boundaries, focusing on us. Yet, glimmers of hope emerged. A distant cousin reached out in support. "I'm proud of you." Friends rallied, hosting a chosen family dinner. Our bond deepened through adversity, turning whispers into declarations. One night, stargazing on my balcony, Mathew said, "This is real. Screw the haters." But the debates raged on, was our relationship ethical? The controversy made us symbols in local LGBTQ circles, sparking panels on taboo loves. As spring bloomed, we navigated the fallout. Mathew's job offered relocation to New York, a fresh start away from Ohio's judgments. "Let's go," he urged. I hesitated. "What about family?" He replied, "We'll build our own." The decision loomed, a crossroads of heart and heritage. Moving to New York was our escape hatch, but it came with its own battles. The city buzzed with acceptance, yet echoes of Ohio haunted us. Mathew's parents sent letters pleading for redemption, mixing love with condemnation. "Come home, son. We can fix this." He tore them up, but the pain lingered. In therapy, we dissected it. Generational trauma, religious dogma versus personal truth. Our relationship flourished in anonymity. Walks in Central Park, holding hands without stares. But old wounds reopened when Sarah showed up unannounced, having tracked Mathew through mutual friends. "I deserve answers," she demanded over coffee. He explained his journey. "I loved you, but I wasn't honest with myself." She left in tears, accusing me of stealing him. The guilt resurfaced. Had I influenced too much? Social conflicts intensified online. A family member posted a vague rant on Facebook. When kin betray blood for unnatural desires. It went viral in conservative circles, drawing trolls. We faced doxing threats, forcing us to privatize profiles. "Is this freedom?" Mathew asked bitterly. Support came from unexpected places. A LGBTQ advocacy group featured our story anonymously, sparking debates on cousin relationships in modern society. Legal doesn't mean moral, critics argued. Love transcends labels, supporters countered. Internally, we hit rough patches. Mathew's bisexuality brought insecurities. What if I miss women? Honest talks eased it, but trust was tested when he reconnected with an old female friend. Jealousy flared. Are you regretting us? He reassured. No, this is home. Our choices defined us, prioritizing communication over assumption. A major clash came at a pride parade. We marched, flags waving, but spotted a distant relative in the crowd, glaring. Later, she emailed, "You're parading sin." It ignited family-wide emails, dividing lines. Some unfriended us. Others sent quiet support. The controversy fueled Mathew's activism. He started a blog on questioning sexuality in conservative families, gaining followers. Your story helped me, readers wrote. As fall approached, we attended a wedding, not family, but friends. Seeing vows exchanged stirred dreams. One day, I asked. He smiled. Why not? But reality checked. Ohio didn't recognize cousin marriages, and even in New York, societal stigma loomed. Debates with friends turned heated. Is it fair to kids if you have them? We hadn't thought that far, but it planted seeds of doubt. The high drama culminated in a surprise visit from Mathew's mom. I miss my son, she said tearfully at our door. We invited her in, tense but hopeful. Over tea, she listened to our side. The love, the struggles. I don't understand, she admitted. But I see you're happy. No full acceptance, but a crack in the wall. As she left, hugging Mathew, hope flickered. Life in New York settled into a rhythm, but the undercurrents of conflict never fully ebbed. Mathew's blog exploded, drawing media attention. A podcast interview turned controversial when the host grilled us. Cousins? Isn't that incest? We defended. We're consenting adults. No power imbalance. The backlash was swift. Petitions to cancel the show. Supportive op-eds in queer publications. It thrust us into a national debate on love's boundaries, with experts weighing in. Psychologists on genetic risks, minimal for same-sex, sociologists on cultural taboos. Family reconciliation inched forward. At Easter, we visited Ohio cautiously. Grandpa, softening with age, grumbled but didn't preach. Live your life, he muttered. Aunt Linda remained distant, but Uncle Tom called truce. I don't agree, but your family. The partial mending healed some wounds, but scars remained. Mathew reflected. We lost some, gained ourselves. Our bond evolved, facing everyday trials. Career stresses. My design firm downsized. His marketing role demanded travel, tested commitment. One separation led to a heartfelt reunion. I choose you always. Friends became our anchor, hosting holidays when family faltered. The ultimate test came when Mathew proposed not marriage, but a commitment ceremony. In front of who matters, he said. We planned it small in a Brooklyn garden. Invites to family sparked drama. Some RSVP'd yes, others no with pointed letters. The day arrived, tense but beautiful. Vows exchanged under blooming trees, tears flowing. Emily officiated. Love wins, but absent faces stung. Post-ceremony, debates lingered. At a panel, an audience member challenged, does society need to redefine family for cases like yours? We argued yes, emphasizing consent and happiness. The experience solidified us, but questions persisted. Years on, we've built a life, advocacy work, a cozy apartment, dreams of adoption. Society's gaze softened, but judgments endure. Looking back, from that storeroom shock to this, it's been a whirlwind of emotion and choice. Was it morally right for us to pursue our relationship despite the familial and societal taboos? True or false?